Hello, my friend, and welcome to Fear into Faith. This is our Miracles, Signs, and Wonders series. I'm your host, Summer Day, and today I have a man in the studio with me who had an unexpected encounter that saved his family from potential tragedy. Even when he wasn't calling on the Lord showed up for him. Welcome to the studio, Peter Nieves. I said that right, didn't I?
You said it perfectly. Thank you.
I am so excited to have you here because you are my dear friend.
Absolutely.
I get to interview a lot of different people. A lot of them I don't know, but it's such a blessing to have a dear friend like you in the studio with me today.
Thank you.
So Peter, tell everybody watching a little bit about who you are, what you do, where you're from.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, I was born in the projects of Brooklyn. The Lord really has worked heavily in my life throughout. He's saved me over and over and over. Well, over the last, I'd say 3 years, I ran a major intellectual property law group in New England.
So you're an attorney.
I'm an attorney.
Well-dressed
IP
attorney.
So, well, thank you. Thank you. This is for you, actually. So there it is. Yes. Yes.
I had a feeling.
Thank you. So, but I spent a lot of time focusing on patents, trademarks, copyrights, trade secrets, saving businesses. When God gives someone an idea, it's so important to steward it well. And so my focus is basically protecting God's ideas in people's lives.
Okay, stop right now. That is so good. I was about to say you're an attorney. I'm going to refuse to be intimidated by you because you're a really incredibly smart man.
I'm not intimidating.
And you're not. You're not. Say that again. You protect God's ideas.
That is actually what he called me to do. So I was actually in a conference and they were focusing on God ideas in general. And I heard him speak in my spirit, say, protect my ideas. And then it really hit me, the gravity and the importance of this. Like when an idea comes from the third heaven, fight through a second heaven, comes into the first heaven, to an ambassador, the kingdom of heaven, standing here, really bringing forth his ideas into the first heaven and trying to make it basically manifest so it'll be on earth as it is in heaven. It's so detailed into what God actually wants to manifest, so we need to steward it well. Well, what if we don't understand how the legal system works in the world? What's the first assignment of the enemy? Steal. Everybody focused on kill and destroy. What about steal? Well, that's where intellectual property law comes in. That's where another party's stealing your ideas. They're using it for the wrong purposes. They're making believe they're you. And so somebody doesn't get a full encounter of what God intended in that idea when he deposited that idea on one of his children for it to manifest on earth. I could feel him just talking about this. And so it's so important to steward well. Well, what if you don't know the legal system, that can be stolen from you. Somebody can build a counterfeit. Then people don't encounter God's glory in what he released. They encounter a counterfeit. How many counterfeits are in the world right now?
Oh, I don't even want to guess.
They're all over the place.
Yeah, I don't even want to guess.
All over the place. All the New Age movement counterfeits. They're mocking on what God truly wanted to manifest. And so people are being drawn into things that are not of God. That's where we step forward in as Christians. We step forward in protecting what he's ordained us to bring forth here on earth, so that truly it'll manifest with glory and people's lives will transform. So that's a long way of saying, yeah, I'm an IP attorney.
I'm sitting here going, I think that's probably the best answer to what do you do that anyone has given me.
I don't think I've used that definition in court, but yeah, that's kind of what I do.
Didn't use that definition in court?
Yes, exactly.
That is good stuff. And you're somebody who really loves what you do. It's very obvious.
Oh, I do. I love IP because quite often when somebody comes out with an invention or a new technology or a new name or logo or a painting, right, it becomes like their child. I mean, you literally see them. They put so much time and effort into creating something that's a wonderful creation. And so when somebody steals it from them, the phone calls I get are they literally lost their dog, their child, there's something incredibly important. And I'm thinking, that's their paintings. Yeah, well, they spent ages and time manifesting that. And so there's tremendous significance. Well, what if it's just taken? Or what if somebody makes a counterfeit? So I don't know if you ever, I know you have particularly, but if you look at a prophetic painting, it will open up doors for you to see things that you never knew existed. Well, if a counterfeit is made, you're not getting the full intent of what God wanted in that painting. So that's why the enemy seeks to steal, kill, and destroy. So if you make something that's a counterfeit, you're not going to encounter God.
Okay, I have to apologize. I've been your friend for a while, and I've always thought you were amazing, but I didn't realize how amazing you are in your job. I didn't realize how much you have a kingdom assignment in this job. When you were talking about what does it take, like up in the heavens, for an idea to come down, for God to want to bring the kingdom down here, to find the person who's going to say yes, all the obstacles of the enemy coming against it.
That's right.
It's a big process.
It is.
To get things birthed in this world.
It is significant, and that's why we can't just sit on these things. Like, how many of us have actually received ideas from God? We know it was an idea from God. We journaled on it. We talked to friends. It was the biggest thing ever. And then it just sat in the journal. It never manifested. And one of the things I'm concerned about is then at the end, going before the Lord, and he's like, you have any idea how much time it took to get that in your hands?
Yeah.
And, so I don't feel like he would do that. But still, I want to make him pleased. Yes. I want to please him. So I want to make sure I do well what he deposits. And so that's the focus of what I do. But even in the business world, we have to realize that we are stewards of God's kingdom. Like literally, we represent him, right? Our Spirit and Holy Spirit are one. You have abilities to do things in your own business world that people would not understand. I've had opposing counsel lying to a judge. Literally, I'll say it here. I've literally bound things that are unclean and had him sit down.
Wow.
Immediately. Like there are things that we can do because we represent the kingdom that others cannot, as long as we're focusing on truth, on honesty, what God's will is, and we're seeking to bring that forward. We've got an arsenal backing us up.
Okay, I don't know about the people watching, but right now I'm like, why can't every attorney be just like you? You're so amazing. No, attorneys sometimes get the bad rap, but your heart to serve and to serve in the law room. And everybody does to think about steal, kill, and destroy. And it's the kill and destroy. I love how you're like, no, we got to start with the steal and focus on that. So good. And you are from?
New Hampshire, right. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York.
That's what you said, but now you live in New Hampshire.
I live in New Hampshire now, yes. Married to an amazing wife, Bonnie, 2 daughters, Sky and Sierra. And
I've met Bonnie. I can vouch. She's pretty phenomenal, pretty phenomenal. Well, I want to talk a little bit about your story, right?
Sure.
Your story is so great. I heard you tell that story, and you didn't even know, I don't think you knew I was doing my next Bible journal. I don't think you knew I was looking for stories, and you're sharing, and I'm like, oh my goodness, we have to have that story in the journal. And so let's just talk a little bit about so it was a day, and you believe there was an encounter with the Lord that if it didn't happen, could have been pretty big tragedy for your family?
It very likely would have been catastrophic because there was no way out that I could see.
I'm so excited for everybody to hear this. So let's start from the beginning. When was this? How many years ago?
This was about 5 years ago. So we were on a lake called Lake Winnisquam in New Hampshire. Beautiful lake. It was a beautiful day. Like it wasn't cloudy, it wasn't windy, nothing. And so we were out tubing, just having a good time with the girls, which I love to do with them on the lake.
And how old were they at the time?
Well, that would have been 5 years ago. So Sky would have been 16 and Sierra would have been 13.
Okay.
So they were younger. Yeah. And so we were out on the lake just going back and forth on the tube. And then we had to get gas. So I took the tube off and we started to go through what's called a no-wake zone. In a no-wake zone, you can't have a wake on your boat. That means you can't go too fast because it brings these big waves behind you. And so that portion is pretty long. It takes you about 20 minutes to get through the no-wake zone to go to get gas.
Yeah.
That's the path that we were going, and we had no idea what we were about to come into because, again, not a cloud in the sky, no wind.
This is a good point
nothing.
to go ahead and stop you. I'm going to stop you really quick. We are going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back and find out, did the wind pick up or not? You be the judge. Hello, friends. We are back with Peter Nieves. Getting that one right again. And you were just starting to talk to us about being on the lake with your 2 girls. Everything's sunny, it's great. You're coming back in to grab some more gas, get back out there and have more fun. And what happened next?
Right, so we enter into this no-wake zone. You have to turn a corner to get to it. And then there's these houses that are literally right on the water, right? So you have to go really slow through. So we go slow. It takes us about 20 minutes to get to the marina, which is where they pump your gas. So then you have to pull your boat to the side. So now I've turned it and it's facing this way, docks this way, and this way is the way in and out to that entire inlet. So we're on the side this way. I mean, you've heard the terminology all of a sudden mentioned all the time, but this truly was an all of a sudden. There were, again, no clouds, no wind. Out of nowhere, this wind starts to just brew, and within 30 seconds to a minute, just this intense wind comes in. Siren turns on from one of the Marine Patrol people, and I see them coming full speed down, all the way down from where the inlet is, full speed towards us. And there's a bridge
in the
right
no-wake
there.
zone.
Towards the no-wake zone.
Wow,
So
okay.
we're in the no-wake zone. There's a bridge here. The inlet is from here to get to the no-wake zone. And this whole area is about 20 minutes. The marina is like right on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So we're there, and I look down and I see the siren. I hear the sirens and I see the lights flashing like crazy. And this guy is booking it. Wow. I've never seen them race this fast.
Yeah.
He comes full speed, slams on the brakes and yells, "Get out of here, everybody, get out!" And we don't know because we're newer to this region. We've never experienced what's called a squall.
Okay.
So apparently what happens is there's these storms that will travel along a lake. But they move at such torrential winds and clouds and lightning and just almost like hurricane winds that'll come out of nowhere. And you're in a boat in the water, which means it's not like you can, you're on a surface where you can run inside. You're on a boat in the water.
Yeah.
So immediately the person who's pumping the gas obviously doesn't ask for money or anything. He just says, "Get out of here."
Yeah.
And so
and then
we
he
try.
just run away?
He just grabbed the thing out of the side, locked it, put it back into the big gas thing that they have there, and he just books it. He's out of there. So here we are, we're already untied, but the wind hits us. So when the wind hits, it was like this massive gust that pushed the boat, but pushed it sideways. So we're in a surface here on a dock, and there's another dock here, but the wind is pushing us full speed here, and this here is the shore. We need to go backwards and then hook around to get out.
Yeah.
But the wind was so strong that it pushes our boat full speed backwards. So now I'm trying to gun the engine and turn at the same time, but it was too late.
Wow.
It was just too late. And I'm in a bass boat, it's a Nitro Z7 Sport, so it's a bigger bass type of boat. And my daughter's here, my other daughter's there, my wife is there, and we're trying to figure out what are we going to do.
Essentially, you're balked. You can't get out because the wind is so strong. You cannot go the opposite direction of the wind.
Right.
So you're stuck in this.
Yeah. So and the way that we're getting pushed back, we're about to smash into the dock, and once you're in the dock, you can't come out because the wind is pushing you into it.
Yeah.
So you can't. If you go forward, you can't go anywhere. You're stuck. It's over. So I wasn't even thinking, yo, Jesus, nothing. I mean, it just was going, it was going that fast. And the skies turned black immediately, and Marine Patrol said, "Get out of here." He's literally on the mic saying, "Get out of here." So the no-wake zone became essentially an escape path. Nobody's caring about no-wake, and everybody's gunning it full speed just to get out of there. But we're going towards the dock in this exact same moment. And right before the boat is about to smash into the dock, I can't explain this except to say, by the grace of God, this man shows up. This big man shows up, grabs, and this is not physically possible, grabs the boat, twists it, pushes it. And I'm like,
so he's just random man, edge of the dock. Somehow, this very large boat has the strength.
It's an 18-and-a-half-footer, I think, and it's going with the momentum of the wind on the water going right at the dock. It is not physically possible for a human being to stop a boat that's going right into a dock like that. He grabs it, twists it,
redirections,
pushes it, and says, "Go." And we just gunned it. And when we gunned it, we both looked back, and there was nobody there. Nobody there.
Yeah.
And my wife even, she just kind of looks at me and then I just gunned it full speed, and my girls were underneath.
I remember you telling me that the way the thing was is for him to leave this point, he would have had to have. There was only one direction to go.
Right. So the way the dock worked is that this is the shoreline here. You have to go up here, then around the dock to go here, to be on the point where we were.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a horseshoe.
Yeah.
To get there. So
there's no way you wouldn't have seen
him. He can't. He would have to walk back up this way, then to go to the left, then go to the left, and go to the left to get to the shore. When we looked, there was nobody on that dock.
Yeah.
So
No humanly way that he could have ran fast enough. I mean, I guess if he jumped in the water, that would have been the only way he could have just.
That's possible. Like, he could have jumped, Aquaman, right? But no, there was no way possible. But the thing that was so impressive to us was just that, like in that moment of desperation of how are we going to get out of this, like God answered, because there was no physical way to move. And then we just, like I said, we took off full speed. My girls went underneath there's like a cabinet area there. They went underneath it, and lightning was striking to the left and the right as we're doing this. And boats are like just trying to get through this narrow pathway to get out. And so we break through that area, and miraculously, one of our neighbors who knew that we were out was standing at the dock.
Wow.
Waiting for us because they knew that we weren't as familiar as they were with tying a boat.
Yeah.
And these winds were like hurricane winds. Like trees were falling. Like that's the kind of winds that came through. So we came in full speed and just, it's like God's hand just said, vroom, and put us right into the spot, because I don't know how. It just turned, got in, she tied it real fast, we got off, and lightning strikes were happening all over.
As you guys are literally running off the boat.
As we ran off into the condo that we were staying at.
Now, I love that you said there is no way that any human would have had the strength to literally push and twist and turn that boat to go the right direction.
Right.
So if it wasn't a human, what do you think happened?
Oh, it had to be an angel. It had to be an angelic intervention in some way, because, I mean, it's not physically possible. Like the amount of force, I mean, I'm always on a bass boat. I love fishing. So I know how much strength you need just if the boat's going slow, just to grab your hand and slow down the boat so you can bring it onto the dock, because there'll be this large pole that you can hold to guide your boat in.
Yeah.
To go just slow, I mean this pace, and stop a boat is hard with just two arms trying to stop a boat. This was going full speed into a dock with the gusts of a wind. And not only to stop it, but then turn it.
Yeah, that's the part that's crazy.
Push it.
Like, turn it against the wind that is blowing to go the correct direction.
It is truly amazing. So, I mean, everything worked out really well, but it's an incredible memory that the family and I have. And it really shows how, like, even when you're not calling out to him, he's watching.
Yes,
he's, he's taking care of your family. He sees
good.
what's going on. And
We're going to pause real quick. We're going to go to another commercial break, and we'll be right back right after this. We are back, my friends, with Peter Nieves, and we're talking about his miracle experience that he had where an angel literally on the dock was able to not just push his boat away from smashing into the dock, but then twist it against hurricane force winds to go the opposite direction, thus saving your family from smashing, and who knows what would have happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was telling you at the break how, like, your story is so exciting for me because I've been on a couple of boats and I've been on a dock where a boat has come to knock into it. And I remember it took a great amount of force to move this tiny little itty bitty boat. And I can't even imagine against hurricane winds. Like, that's just an impossibility. I agree with you that no human could do that. What were you going to say?
No, you're exactly right. And the thing that really sticks to me so much is to twist a boat. So it's not just like stopping the boat from hitting the dock. It's now twisting it and pushing it. The amount of force and strength is, I can't imagine a human being having that kind of force. But in God's army,
amen. He's got some powerful angels.
They're powerful. They are.
And I know when you first told me the story, you were with Bonnie, your wife, and it was awesome to hear like her perspective and her faith just as supercharged as you. But I want to talk a little bit about, that was 5 years ago.
Right.
I'm just wondering, how many times have you shared this story and you've had other people say, oh my gosh, I was visited by an angel? Because the more I'm interviewing people about miracle signs and wonders, the more I'm realizing almost everybody has a story where they were healed or they were delivered or there was a miracle or there was an angel.
Sure.
And for some reason, we're just not talking about these and sharing them. How many times has someone said, oh my gosh, I have an angel story too? How many times?
Yeah, it actually is pretty common. I think what we tend to forget is that God is always moving. We just don't see what he's doing because we're focusing on the flesh, we're focusing on the physical world, and not a lot of us are focusing on what's happening in the spiritual realm. And quite often, things that are manifesting in the physical realm have already manifested in the spiritual realm. So there's an effect that it's almost like we're catching up after the fact.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, one of the things like I like to pray is like, Lord, show me what you're doing. I'd like to see what you're doing in the room. Like, what's happening? Where do you want me to move and things?
Good.
When you do that, you become more conscious of what he's doing in a moment. And so you don't miss it. Because often a lot of the stories are one or two times that somebody remembers in their entire life when God moved. You realize God is literally moving every single day of your life?
Yeah.
Like, it's not new. And there's angelic intervention, like, all the time.
I agree with you.
The reason why we don't have all these memories to mention is because God's done such a great job at saving our bottoms so often that we don't actually see it.
Yeah.
And that quite often is like a child. You know, when we do so much work as a parent, the child doesn't realize how much the parent's doing because we've done such a good job.
Such a good
so
analogy.
I get film on that. So you just applaud his efforts. He's amazing. He's glorious. He's magnificent.
You love God
grateful.
so much.
Oh,
You
yeah.
are such, faith of a child. Peter, you have the faith of a child. I love when you talk about God.
Yeah.
I want to unpack your faith journey just a little bit. Have you always been this on fire for Jesus? I mean, you're talking about the spiritual realms and angels. Like, you really are all in on this God thing. Was that always the case?
No. So I was raised not in the church. So I had quite a shaky background. My mother was agnostic. My father believed in something, but they forced me to go to church because my stepmother essentially said, look, I don't believe, but you're going to make up your own choice, which I thought was amazing for her to do that. So she left it up to me. So they dropped me off at church, and when they left, I'd go into the backyard and play basketball. So I never even went to church. Like, I was not
in one
there.
door and out the other.
Literally, wait, they're gone? Great. I go into the backyard, where they had the basketball court, and I play basketball. And then right before church was over, I'd go back into church, and then I'd leave. So, yeah, I didn't have the greatest relationship with God when I was younger, but I was suffering from a lot of things. I was suffering from panic attacks, anxiety issues, physical issues, all sorts of stuff. And I was also a bow hunter. And so one time I was like...
You were a bow hunter? You just
Yes.
gotta throw that one out there?
Yes.
I knew you were cool.
Yes. So from the projects of broken to bow hunting.
That's great. Okay.
So, but one day I'm out in a tree like 30 feet up in the air, bow hunting deer because my wife loves venison. And so I got hit with a massive panic attack. Couldn't breathe.
No.
Like, I thought I was going to die. And
30 feet in the air.
Yeah. And I turned to God and I said, I can't live like this anymore. I don't want to live like this. I need your help. And this power came into me and gone. Like, now, just to be clear, I had a bag that was about this big of everything from St. John's wort to magnesium to passion flower to, you name it, Ativan to all sorts of things just to make it through a day.
Wow.
He came in a split second and removed something that nobody could do. I also had an addiction. This was over 20 years ago. I was addicted to pornography because I was physically, emotionally, and sexually abused as a child.
Wow.
Right before the age of 8. And about 20 years ago, my daughter was 1, and I was starting to catch a glimpse in the spirit of what that means to be addicted to something that is not of God, that's opening up opportunities for the enemy in your own life and in your marriage and in your children's lives. And it hit me so strong that I tried everything to stop, but there's a spiritual realm. It's a spiritual battle. It's not just a physical battle, which people don't understand. And so one day I'm sitting, I remember like it was yesterday, I'm sitting at the dining room table, my wife had gone to bed, and the gravity of it was so strong, I just started crying. And I said, would you please have mercy on me and take it? I can't stop. I'm done. Like, I can't do it. And when I confessed to him that I couldn't do it, and I just surrendered, gone. And now when I say gone, I mean 100%. I couldn't watch people kissing on television. Like, literally, it got shut off 100%. To the point when my wife's asked me, we can't even watch our R-rated movies anymore? Like, what's going on?
Wow.
But he came in, and so my life has really been these moments where he comes in, he saves me from smashing into a dock, and essentially, we could have drowned in that moment. I don't know how we would have gotten out to, the addiction to pornography, to, physical things, to emotional things. He'll come in and just save me.
Wow.
So he truly is my Savior.
I love it. I love it. And I know that you have so many miracle experiences. You've prayed for people, you've seen healings, you've seen signs, you've seen wonders. We have a little bit of time. Is anything stands out of a time you've prayed for someone or a miracle you've seen that you want to share?
Yeah, I'd love to share this one. I had a pastor bring this woman in a wheelchair over to me, and she couldn't get out, so she smelled of urine, like, because she couldn't get out of the chair, and she'd run it with her hand. And so he said, "Can you pray for her?" I was like, "Sure." And then he left.
And how many years ago was this?
This one was about 8 years ago. Okay. But it's has such a massive effect on me. So asked her, I got to know her name. Her name was Doris. I asked her, I remember to this day, and I said, what would you like prayer for? Because you should always ask. Like, you shouldn't just assume, hey, get out of the chair. It's like you should always. So I did. I asked her, and she said she wanted her eyes to be fixed because she couldn't see out of one eye, and the other one had cataracts. And so I said, all right, well, let's pray for that. And prayed for her once, seemed like nothing. Prayed a second, seemed like nothing. Prayed a third time. Now, God had healed me of so many things that I started praying for others, and they were all being healed. Wow. Like legs growing, eyes opening, ears opening, like you name it, things were happening. Well, it wasn't happening for her. So I was starting to get frustrated. And I turned to my daughter, and I said, what do you see? And she mentioned what she saw. And so I got to a point where I said, Lord, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what to pray, but you do. So can you just heal your daughter here? Because I'm getting in the way. I literally told him, I feel like I'm getting in your way.
Yeah.
And prayed one more time. Boom, her head snaps back. She says, get out of the way. She stands up out of the chair, right? And she starts walking, like literally she's like this, and she does not walk. Like the people in the church know she does not walk. And she starts slowly like stumbling, like, and I was like, should I help you? She was like, get away, like, don't touch me. Like, 'cause she felt the power of God. And she goes around once, twice, and then on the third time she looks at the wall and she says, that's a chalice, that's a dove. She's naming the stained glass windows in the Foursquare church.
Wow.
And so when she gets to the front, I said, do you want to sit down? She yells at me, go get me a small print Bible.
Okay, I don't want to cut you off because it's an amazing story, but we're running out of time.
Okay.
So you healed her, you prayed.
She's completely healed.
She's out of the wheelchair.
Her eyes were healed, she could walk, and all I did was get out of the way so God could do what he wanted to do in the first place.
So good! That's the most perfect message to end with. Peter, you're amazing. You've been a great guest. You're a great friend. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. It was amazing. I'm glad you're doing this.
Thank you. I received that. And my friend, that is my prayer for you. My prayer for you is that you would just sometimes get out of the way. Ask God, what is it that you want? What is it that you want me to pray? And then walk in boldness and do that. We'll see you next time. Bye.